Welcome back to another Bitcoin update. Make sure you go ahead and check all my altcoin videos from today. It's very important because we're starting to see altcoins losing key levels of support, although Bitcoin just dumped back to its support. It's because it has a lot more strength than altcoins, holding up a lot better in duration of dips. And even without losing this support, you're seeing altcoins already losing theirs, like Dogecoin, for example. And that makes its journey back up a lot harder. You'd argue for Dogecoin, as just as an example, very briefly, as this is support, and you're starting to form a bullish double bottom, in fact, a micro bullish double bottom right over here. It's breaking out, targeting the range highs, looking for this to be broken and recovered. By doing so, it actually is going to also recover the neckline of this bearish head and shoulders pattern. And then by climbing back up to 25 cents and recovering it, you'd actually see the validation of this bullish double bottom taking it to 44 cents. So technically the primary path is actually meant to go lower anyways, with the bearish crosses, with the loss of the support, with the breakdown of the neckline. It's meant to go lower. But in every video I'm showing you, for the holders, how it goes back on that bullish path. But with another support being lost, it makes that journey back up that much more difficult. Because from down over here, it already needs to recover this, this, and this. 3 resistances. With the loss of this support, that's adding a 4th resistance. And at the very first one, it couldn't even break out. So it just means that it's less and less and less likely that it's going to continue higher. And that's why there's so much importance on Bitcoin to hold this key level and pump back up into 116 and 118K. In fact, we need to see that area taken out completely. We need to obliterate this resistance, flip it into support for altcoins to recover those lost level of supports, but also to take out all those resistances in order to flip them bullish again. So is Bitcoin bullish? As you saw by the title, technically it's still bullish while 107K holds. But in fact, guys, when this liquidation event occurred and we saw this quick pump the following days, and the dump back down, I was able to place a new set of Fibonacci's. And I told you that 101 to 104K is the new level of support. And we got another bounce from there. But I was also warning Bitcoin could find resistance before breaking out of this previous double bottom neckline over here. 1 bottom, 2 bottom, here's the W. The market was bullish right over here, but when it failed to hold a support, it flipped bearish. And over the last week or so, you can see another confirmation of that. In fact, with the move back down and hold and then reconfirming the bearish crosses as resistance again, because on the journey back up, you can see all moving averages recovered. Now with the move back down, you've got this bearish head and shoulders pattern. Can you see that? Shoulder, head, shoulder, proving that in fact, where the shoulders are is this true resistance. So over the following days, you can see Bitcoin trapped between 107 and 111. We need to see the move back up that recovers 111 and all the moving averages, which would then send it back up to 116 and 118K. Understand, we can't even get excited with that, but you could argue another bullish double bottom would form. The reason why we can't get excited is because this needs to simply be taken out. That's it. That's all the market needs to do to help these altcoins recover those lost supports. Remember, with each loss of support, you got another layer of resistance. And briefly, when I showed you Dogecoin, it failed at the very first hurdle, let alone adding another one. You know, if it recovers one hurdle, it's probably going to find resistance on the next and get sent back down lower. The primary path is technically bearish for altcoins, but with Bitcoin still holding up this key level of support, it is technically bullish, which will allow the altcoins to relief rally, which will allow Bitcoin to relief rally, but failing to recover this key neckline, Bitcoin will ultimately bleed lower. It has one last opportunity from here to recover these key levels, but why would you not rather find support here and go up, then go down another level, making it that much harder to recover because it's adding another level of resistance. And the argument is that support is lost, it's now resistance for continuation lower. So guys, is Bitcoin still bullish? Technically, as $107K holds, yes, has every right to reverse. But it must recover 111, it must recover 116, 118, and only then would I consider this market bullish in the immediate short term, mid-term, and long term. Right now, it's long-term bullish while this still holds. But immediate short term, we're seeing it bleed down low. It must reverse from here. It must recover this. And short term, mid-term, long term is bullish again. bringing the altcoins back up to those key levels, taking them out, and hopefully validating those bullish patterns. Until that very moment, we need to be very cautious, because as soon as Bitcoin loses this support, altcoins are going to get absolutely decimated. But I won't be affected, as I only hold Bitcoin. I've been only holding Bitcoin and got rid of all my alts at the tail end of last year, beginning of this year, because I saw very worrying signs on the altcoins that I was personally holding in the microcap category. They've never recovered from what I was saying. In fact, I was making updates January, February of this year, and no one wanted to believe what I was saying, where I was saying that this looks like the complacent stage. And ever since, it's only reaffirmed my bias. It's the same over here, this being complacency stage, and only lower ever since 2024's top, guys. From March 2024, some altcoins have been bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. And when I saw this failed rally, the tail end of last year, and then going into January, February, losing this key level of support, I knew that I was heading into anxiety, denial, panic. And you can imagine the comments I was getting saying, no, you don't know what you're talking about. This is fundamentally sound. This project has this partnership and that partnership. Guys, the only thing that matters is if your investment is going up or down. The crypto don't give a F about you or S about you. No one cares about you in this market. I'm literally one of the only guys trying to open your eyes here. But that's why I offer the education. If you want to learn the Fibonacci strategy, it is literally the Fibonacci strategy that opened my eyes. I've been doing this for 6-7 years now. And when I see a switch in support turning into resistance, my bias flips absolutely immediately. It's because key levels or major levels of Fibonacci's are being lost for those things to occur. When this dump actually happened, $2.56 needs to get recovered for me personally to be bullish once again. That is my strategy. So you can see all the way up, I'm not confident, and then it loses the support, gives me even more validity that I am right. And then just seeing all those negative comments, I just laugh, because in the end, 1 year, 2 years pass, and as you can see, it's played out exactly as I was worrying, and that my move into Bitcoin was the best decision I could have ever made. Thanks to that, thanks to the knowledge, the wisdom, or whatever you want to say, given by God, and the amount of hours and years that I spent actually charting this and getting burnt and learning from getting burnt, essentially, just making sure that I'm not repeating those same mistakes. If something goes bad, I'm trying to make sure I'm not repeating that once again, and trying to always adjust the strategy. And over the years, I've come to the conclusion that I'm only interested in Bitcoin. And in fact, if this all goes wrong and Bitcoin loses support, I'm not in altcoins to get it dumped on. I'm in Bitcoin. So in fact, I'd actually love if the market went down, because I'd rather accumulate Bitcoin in the hundreds of thousands rather than the 200s and 300s and 400s. I'd rather accumulate here for as long as possible, or for a bear market to begin, because I'm just going to be able to accumulate even more. It's a win-win for Bitcoin. Is this what people don't understand? It's win-win. Go down, I get more. Go up, I get more money. Go down, I accumulate more Bitcoin. Go up, I make more dollars, pounds, euros, whatever you want to call it. That is it from me today. I've got a 30% discount. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. If you wanted to learn my strategy, use the links down below. Take action on this 30% discount while it lasts until Friday the 7th of November. This can be applied to my Discord, ebook, or one-to-one mentorship plans. So check them out, and I'll see you over there.